All right, I think we are live. Can everybody in the chat hear me loud and clear? All right, let's get this show on the road here. What do we got? All right, so today, welcome to Loud and Clear with Glenn Schick, where we talk about mastering, audio production, and the things that actually make records translate in the real world. I'm Glenn Schick, and I'm a mastering engineer of over 3 decades. Hi, Al. It's a Thursday. It's almost middle of July, uh, Reykjavik here, Iceland, and it is a gloomy, rainy day, and it's been raining here. And if you know anything about the weather in Iceland, Iceland is got about a 2 3 month span of weather that doesn't suck. So it really is bad when you have like 15 days straight of rain, which we're having right now. So, first of all, I wanted to apologize for no show last week. Um, Last week was a super busy, super hectic week for me. And it was, we had our regular sessions and all that. And I was planning to do a show. And then this massive project came in. And it kind of like wiped out everything on my schedule. So apologies for no show last week. But the good thing is that the hard work I did last week ended up being a number one record in the US now on Spotify and a number two globally. So hard work pays off. At least you're getting your advice on mastering and other things from somebody that's actually still working and making records. So, uh, this episode, we're up to episode 14 here. It's called The Mastering Myths I Wish Would Die. And speaking of things that I wish would die, I just wanted to start with a story that happened. This was 2 nights ago. So I'm in the middle of this crazy project. It's just kind of on the finishing end. And yeah, I have my phone set at my bed like most people do with a do not disturb on there so people can't get through. But I think there's a breakthrough for like emergency calls. And anyway, the phone rang. And of course, in my sleepy state and knowing that it's probably an emergency, I picked up the phone and I went, "Hello?" And the guy on the other end of the line goes, "Yeah, I heard you're the engineer for this blah, blah, blah project, and I would like to pay you for the unreleased masters." And I was just like, "You son of a bitch." And I hung up the phone on him. And so if you really think that having good clients sometimes doesn't come with some extra baggage, it does sometimes. So I thought that was really kind of funny, and I have no idea who that was. And obviously, they didn't get any tracks from me, but they got my wrath. So anyway, hope everybody's good. And today we're just going to talk about some stuff. It's a really relaxed chat today. Like I said, because of last week, I'm still recovering, and we're just going to talk about some myths in mastering, why they still happen. Um, so, myth number one: uh, mastering can fix a bad mix. So, I think we've talked about this earlier, but mastering, we have, both preservation and enhancement. Those are the two biggie things that happen on those. So, if it's not preservation or enhancement, and the mix is just awful, honestly, most of the time, if it's an awful mix, it's going back to the mixer or the artist to get worked on some more. If it's something I can help, I will do it. And with caveats, I will tell clients, your mix will go from here to there on the master, but it's never going to go to here. So, you got to give people their honest truth and expectations on what you're going to get from a master. So, kind of garbage in, garbage out, kind of true. And some of the best mastering you can do is to ask for a mix revision sometimes. So another kind of add on to that, um, stem mastering is the same as mixing. Well, that's actually not a myth. It's not the same as mixing, so it's partial myth. But as some of you know, I'm not a fan of stem mastering. I think it is technically still a mix of some type. And I think the mixer or the producer should be the ones making the call of where their mix sits. So I'm not going to be one that's going to take your stem masters. And I'm not really a fan of the whole stem mastering thing. So it's just the last opportunity mastering, but it's not a miracle stage. So that's myth one. And you guys can hit me with comments or questions as we're going here. This is a totally relaxed chat. I'm just checking. We got a bunch of people on Instagram. Hi, Instagram. So myth number two, louder is always better, or kind of the sub myth on there. You have to hit a specific LUFS, LUFS target. So this is really interesting because I have people who don't quite understand what loudness really means and what it means to their master on something that's kind of flatter and has just tons of controlled compression. Like I did a pop rock record for an artist last month, and they wanted it really loud, and it's kind of like Green Day-ish stuff. It's got like samples of snares and samples of kick drums and super loud vocal out front, and everything else is pretty compressed and really good mixer too. So all that stuff is well done as well. And they wanted it really loud. And I had zero problem making it really loud. And that still sounds good streaming because it doesn't have the dynamic range that some tracks have and don't suffer because of that. But on other things, like a hip hop record I did this week, they also wanted it kind of loud, and they also wanted the bass to hit a lot. So here's the case where you got to take a trade off for dynamics versus loudness. And on that one, I kind of went less than the clients want, just by a little bit, just so we can have a little bit more dynamic range. And so the tracks, when they hit Spotify, would still bump. And they did. They sound awfully good, if I don't say so myself. Um, and so, like, different genres will have different expectations, and every master that you do needs to be tailored to that music. There is no magic number. So that's myth number two. Myth number three, or as they say in Icelandic, þreyr. Uh, you need expensive analog gear. Um, so I had a studio in Atlanta. It was the best equipped studio in the Southeast, where another now well-known mastering engineer worked. And it was head to toe the best stuff I can get. It was all analog. We did not use plugins back in those days. So I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, the work I'm doing now, which is all in the box, all plugins, sounds better than anything I got back in the day due to two reasons. So one is I think the workflow is better now because I'm not converting out analog and coming back digital again. You have to remember every time you convert from analog to digital, you're taking a signal loss and you're introducing new artifacts and other crap. So keeping the signal pure is a good thing. And then the second thing of it is my experience, because I closed down that studio in 2012, and I am so much more experienced since then, even though I was open 20 years before that, that my stuff is way better now. So engineers can make a fantastic record in the box. Uh, all of us that work in the box do all the time. There are a few guys that work hybrid. There's a few guys that work, mostly analog, but they're really old school guys. But honestly, I really think that there's no limitation or bar to holding you back for anything. So you don't need fancy analog gear. Uh, it's not necessary. But if you want it, go for it. So the tools matter, but the judgment matters more. Uh, Hi, everybody. I see Justin, my other mastering buddy, on the line there for Instagram. Hey, Justin. Uh, so myth number, where are we at here? I got my little notes here. Myth number 4: more plugins are a better master. So one of the things I do all the time to kind of just check myself is every once in a while when I think I've got like a great kind of plugin lineup, I'll go back to that same master and then I'll pull a bunch of them off and see if it don't sound better. And you know what? A lot of times it do sound better. uh, Sometimes you think you're adding something real magic sauce on a plugin chain or a mastering chain, and you've got a maybe a new plugin or a box that is really hyped. I'll never forget. I got when I had the analog studio, I got the holy grail of EQs. I got the Soundtech 432, and everybody was telling me this is like the magic sauce that only the best mastering guys have. And I remember doing my first few masters with it and going, it's an EQ. It sounds like other EQs. It's good, sure, but there was no magic sauce. And so taking it back off and having less processing than I needed was really the best thing I could have done. And that definitely applies to plugins. So uh, if I would give you any advice, I would say that, let's see, I'm just trying to see if I want to put people's comments up. Maybe not yet. So if I give you any advice about quantity of plugins, if you're going to put more than a few on your chain, take a few off every once in a while and kind of give yourself a check your head. And speaking of that, we can go to myth number 5. So, and these are all things I really hope go away at some point. So, there's a perfect mastering chain. So I have to tell you, every project I do, I might start with the same 3, 4 plugins, but after that, I am purposely picking every single thing that goes in there. And it's a matter of experience and tailoring for that project. So for sure, you really want to have all that stuff um, in a chain that's tailored for that song or that artist. And so every genre is different, every song is different. People ask me, "What's your mastering chain?" And I'll say, "Well, what day are you asking that about?" So there's no perfect mastering chain. Don't ask. Um, Myth number 6. Uh, Actually, 6 in Icelandic is sex, which is a giggle kind of thing. So anyway, meters tell you everything. And I did a show about meters. Actually, if you look through my older shows, if you want to know more about metering, I did a whole episode on it. But uh, meters are not something you should master by. They are a kind of double checking tool. They're a useful tool if you use them right. Lux meters, spectrum analyzers, correlation meters, dynamic range meters. All those things have their places, but you should not be mastering by them. And I tend to only check my metering kind of once I'm, I don't know, 70% down the process, 90% down the process. And then I'll double check to see if maybe there's something that the meter catches that my ear didn't by chance. You can miss things like sub bass or correlation stuff, phase stuff might slip by you. Hopefully not, because hopefully you have expert ears by this time. But if they do slip by you, that's a good place to use a meter. But they don't tell you everything, and you don't want to use that as your primary tool. So that's myth number 6. Myth number 7. 7 in Icelandic is sjó. I'm also teaching Icelandic today. So mastering is mostly about limiters. So limiters are a part of what we do. They are definitely not the most critical part of what we do. Um, it's kind of, I think if you're someone that doesn't master, um, let's see, I'm just seeing some comments on Instagram here. Bear with me. Nice, nice, nice. People are just saying nice words. Anyway, um, so what was I talking about? Oh yeah, limiting. So if you're not really a mastering engineer, your first thing would be, I want to make this louder. It's my mix, but I want to make it louder. You may not have the basic understanding of what a mastering engineer does. So you take your mix and you put a limiter on it and you crank it, and that is not mastering. So in mastering, we do everything before the limiter ever gets put on anything, and the limiter is important. It does add character as well as also sometimes not add character. So it really depends on the project and song. Again, everything's very specific, but good limiting starts with a good mix, and then like a really thoughtful master, and then you need the minimum amount of limiting. So that is my thoughts on limiting. That's myth number 7. Myth number 8. Oh God, what is number 8 in Icelandic? Oh, so oh my God, I've forgotten number 8 already. I'm already failing Icelandic, as you can see. I can say it in Korean or Chinese, but not Icelandic. All right, so reference tracks mean copying somebody else's work. So if you're one of those people that use reference tracks, and I used to, I don't anymore, but I used to, um, reference tracks are a useful tool, especially when you're getting started. I haven't really used them since I kind of left the old studio in Atlanta, and which is more than 10 years ago, and I don't really need them anymore because I kind of feel like reference tracks are kind of useless because every mix should sound like what that mix should sound like. And even if it's close in genre, I think it was an less experienced Glenn that used to use references all the time to kind of try to tune things. It's not the best way to do things. And I'm here to tell you it's not. So, reference tracks isn't copying stuff. Um, we got some questions coming up here. Hi, Eric. Um, we'll interrupt a little bit of this with some questions. It's okay to break this up? Yeah. Uh, so let's go through some of Eric's comments here. Big fan of my masters and sonic tastes. Questions if you'd like them. Thank you, Eric. Uh, what conversion and interface setup with your Audazes? Do you plan on changing or upgrading anything? I use Chord Electronics, and it's a Chord Dave here at the studio and a Chord TT2 at home, and I'm quite happy with that. And no, I have no plans on changing or upgrading anything because what I have is really good. Let's see. More from Eric. As a headphone user, do you utilize any room reference software in your process? I've talked about this a lot, Eric. I guess you didn't hear my other stuff, but no, I don't use anything. I really don't like room correction or EQ or any of that stuff on my headphones. And you got one more here. You're getting a big segment here, Eric. Working on primarily headphones, do you use dedicated headphone amp to deliver sufficient power, or does your interface power solve that? I don't have an interface slash headphone amp. It's not like all in one unit. So I do have a separate amp for that. And uh, the s- the headphones I use are Audi 5Ss, and they require a good bit of power. So something like plugging it into an Apollo or a computer's interface will not do them justice. So I hope that answers those questions, and we can get back to the list here. Let's go back to my notes. We've got some Instagram stuff. Uh, from Brian Poole, I'm curious, where do you like to set the output ceiling on your limiter in your chain? Um, Brian, that is a also depends on the material question. So it depends on how dynamic the stuff is, and it could be anywhere. I would say from negative 2 tenths to negative almost -1, depending on what the material is and how it's affecting the limiting and clipping coming out. So, uh, different material will require different output levels. Hope that helps. All right, you can keep the questions coming if you want, and we'll keep going here. So, myth number 9, and, I've also forgotten 9 in Icelandic, so we'll skip Icelandic for now. Uh, AI will replace mastering engineers. So, as of yet, there are some services that offer automated mastering. There's even somebody using my old analog chain and running it through there and calling it an automated service. But yeah, it's not really. Replacing a mastering engineer. Mastering engineer is someone that's gonna make decisions, someone that's gonna give you quality control. So most of these services, you know all the names of them, are just giving you kind of, some basic rebalancing, some general rebalancing, and sometimes that's okay, and sometimes that's not okay. Sometimes the music doesn't need to be rebalanced the way they do it, and they just rebalance it and make it louder and spit it back out to you. So you guys can do that yourself if you want to, but you're paying a mastering engineer for his or hers experience and years of doing this and knowing they're gonna make the right call for you. So, um, that's really, not gonna happen. So that myth, AI is gonna replace mastering engineers, maybe with ChatGPT 17 or something, but, not yet. So, myth number 10, the goal is technical perfection. So, no, the goal is to make good music. Um some people kind of lose sight, and I'll admit I've been guilty of it a few times myself, where you lose sight of what the real target is. So for me, I was always a music first person. If you saw my last episode a couple weeks ago, it was about musicology. And for whatever that's worth, I fell in love with music. And so when I work on a song, I want it to have some emotional impact. I want it to be pleasant to your ears. I want you to be able to crank it up in your earbuds or in your car and it not like physically hurt you unless we were going for that. And there is actually I had one client who wanted his music painful, which was really, against every little, uh, uh, intuition I had to to fix it, but, so no, it's not about, technical perfection, that's a myth, and that should go away. It's about making good music. So, now I can ask you guys, are there any mastering myths that you think still exist? I'm gonna put it back on the comments here. Anybody got anything for me tonight? Instagrammers or you YouTubers? As I'm doing this live, it's your chance to talk. Anybody? No? Is it only Eric? Oh, we got it, someone else. Yeah, okay. Let's see what this question is. What's the loudest you've mastered a hip hop record, and what's the lowest number you actually delivered? So, Chris, I think the loudest is probably around maybe like -5-ish, and, the lowest, was probably, I think it was, J. Cole's KOD, and that was pretty low. I don't even remember what that was, but I'm gonna say it was like -9 or -10 even, and that actually won the Dynamic Day what is it called? The Dynamic Range Day Award. Somebody liked it even though, it was a big record, actually, that was a number 1 record too, so I can't remember who the loudest one was, but, I've had a few loud ones. But I tend not to be one of those guys that wanna crank hip hop super loud because then you lose all your dynamics, and if a hip hop record don't bump, you've really kinda lost your stuff on there, so anybody else? Here's another one from Brian in Instagram. Who makes the best emulation of the Soundtech mastering EQ? Um, I've tried a couple of them. As I kinda said earlier, I had the Soundtech. It wasn't all bad. It was nice. I mean, I had a bunch of nice EQs, and it wasn't really any better or, stellar or whatever, when I got it, so I'm gonna be one of those debunkers debunkers, about the Soundtech legend and say, "It ain't all that." It's a nice EQ. It's just a nice EQ. It's an old EQ. People have romantic feelings about it. I am not a gear romanticist. So, as far as I tried, I think Plugin Alliance had one, and oh, who's the other one? Acoustica. I think I tried both of those. I don't think I've tried anybody else's, like, I think Metric Halo made one too, but I didn't really want another one, so the ones I tried were just they were okay, but I prefer other digital EQ plugins, so, anybody else? We got a couple more minutes on the chat here. Anybody else got anything for me? It's your chance, people. You've got a "Still tired from last week" Glenn, ranting and raving, ready to share his knowledge with you. Guy making big hits, sharing everything. I'm not asking you for a subscription, although it would be nice to get some more subscribers. Here's another one from Chris. Let's put him up on the screen. Are you just listening to determine how loud it should be, or are you also trying to hit a specific target? Um, I would say 99% just listening. Um, I will go, as I said earlier with the meters, I'll go double check at the end of the process just to see where I ended up, and then I might make a little minute adjustment, but it is totally a feel thing, my friend. Stuff's gotta sound right, and, stuff doesn't sound right at every level, and, stuff's not gonna kind of translate at every level without the right amount of dynamics and transients, so, you gotta make it sound good before you do anything else, and the loudness really doesn't mean as much after that. So, hope that helps. Anybody else got one? I'm having fun with the questions. Oh, here we go from Instagram. Do you prefer technical instructions or more musical? Sometimes vague instructions from clients. From Becoming Charles. Okay, Charles, I'll tell you a funny story. I had a, jazz pianist, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant pianist, and, I started working with him, and I sent him the first set of masters, and, I'll admit they were probably not quite right at that point. I wasn't sure really how to get a handle on him the first time, but he came back with, like, a two-page, email of these most flowery description of, "Man, I just wanted to be in tune with the universe and, just feeling, homogeneous with the world, and, it's gotta be flowery, but yet, subtle." And, how does that translate to mastering? So, I would say, Charles, um, you probably need a little combo of both. I wanna know what the emotion is behind your, question or, inquiry about your master or your mix, but you should know a little bit basic, like, some people mix up bright and clear. Those are 2 really almost opposite things. So, you can get a lot of clarity from making something less bright, but somebody who's not an engineer, the only way they know to get clarity might be to crank up a shelf EQ, and they go, "Oh, it's clear now," but it's also not. It's just hissy and harsh and, really will rip your head off. So, knowing what clarity is, knowing what high frequency is, those learning some basic terms will really help. So I would say a mix of both. You can tell me, I want it to, knock you out, and I also would like a little more attack on the kick. That's a good combo. So anybody else here? We got a bunch of people over in both these places in YouTube and Insta. What up, people? And happy Thursday night. No problem, Chris. Happy to share the knowledge. We got another one here from Instagram from TCB Masters. Hi, mastering guy or girl. Do I use low shelves or low cuts? Um, I use them both. How's that? Uh, let's see. Another one from Brian here. What are your thoughts on avoiding desk reflections in your monitoring environment? Oh dear. That is a tough one for most people. As you can see, I'm a fan of headphones, although I do have speakers as well. And I use some wonderful speakers. You can see the little tiny guys here from Mon Acoustics. It's a Korean company, and I have their big ones that are in front here. And unfortunately, if I turn the camera around, I'm probably going to disconnect everything. So I'm not going to do that. But I have their big pairs and some subs and some high frequency tweeters and all that sitting in front of me too. And the best thing you can do is not have a lot of desk surface. I actually, in my first studio, had this beautiful custom desk, and I loved it. It was just the most comfortable, had tons of room for stuff, had built in rack space. But, when Francis Manzella, who is this acoustic designer, came in to fix my mess of acoustics, he said, "That desk, out." And, I was like, "Why? I just had this custom desk made, it's so beautiful." And he went, I'm sorry, "That's screwing up your audio, so that's gotta go." So and it did have big, wide, desktop, and that was causing some issues. So, I would say just minimal amounts of stuff, try to get some placement going, and that's the best you can do. So, sometimes you gotta have a little bit of reflection, but hopefully where it doesn't interfere so much that it kills your, ability to reproduce. So, what up, everybody? Happy Thursday. Looking at the Instagram, looking at the YouTube. You guys got any more for me tonight? I'm kinda goofy. It's a good time to prod me with questions. What's up, Peasy? Just did a record with Peasy. Very good engineer out of Memphis. Look him up if you haven't, if you like some Memphis hip hop. What up, everybody? Uh, Eric again here. Eric, thanks for all the questions, but, yeah, it's your night tonight, so, uh, let's put his question up on the board. So Eric says, let me take a sip first. We've got my Grammy mug, yes. Alright, keep me from getting dry mouth. With headphones, do I much care about the issue of crosstalk? I don't care at all. I don't like processing, Eric. I don't like any of that extra, uh, you know, headphones are not speakers. I don't want them to imitate speakers. I want to master something that sounds great on headphones. And I'm not trying to make them sound like speakers. I don't care about crosstalk. I don't want to any kind of acoustic room simulations. Uh, for me, no, 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 no. Um, do do do. So from Instagram, we got what are your thoughts about those room plugins like Rhyme or the VSX systems? So that's from Bruno. And Bruno, I think I kind of just said it all there. You've said too much. Yeah, no, I don't like any of that stuff. I haven't tried the VSX. Uh, that's very funny, Eric. I haven't tried the VSX headphones. I'm sure they're good product, whatever, but I don't really need all that crap. So not that it's crap. Um, let's see. Favorite funny one-liner quotes to take us home. Oh, geez. Where do I start? I don't know. The phone call I got this week was probably the best thing I can tell you. When somebody wakes you up at 2 in the morning with a German accent and going, are you the engineer from this project? I want to buy your masters, unreleased masters. That was my pretty good one line for this week. So, uh, Becoming Charles on Instagram. Should a hip hop artist stick with the same engineers they've used previously, or should they rely on A&R's producers' input? Oh dear, that is a loaded question. Um, you need to trust your judgment and also see the work that the people that you're working with do. So, my rule of thumb, like for instance, if you're getting advice from a YouTube engineer and you look up their credits and they don't have anything they've done in the last 7 years, and even if they did, it's like one or two credits and it's maybe not that good, then I wouldn't probably take their advice. And so the same thing goes for, working with somebody. If you're working with somebody and they just tell you, "Oh, I work with so and so, and I work with so and so," and then you go look up their credits, and there's no credit for working with so and so, and no credit for working with so and so. And I think what was it? White Sea Studio, I think, did a uh, was it White Sea Studio? It might have been somebody else on YouTube did a thing about people who put up credits that they didn't really earn. I got a problem with that. God, do I got a problem with that. So check the credits of the people you work with. Make sure you like their work. Make sure you like the other work they've done, and then use some judgment. But that's all you can do. Going down some Instagram comments. How should someone learn to master from Matt's? You should watch this channel and subscribe because I give you some absolute gems here. So, uh, let's see what else we got here. Anybody else? I think we got it all tonight. We got a good crowd tonight. I'm liking this. I'm liking this kind of interactive stuff. Would you guys tune in regularly and let me kind of banter with you on the regular? Would you like that? I think I'd like that better because I really don't like giving like mastering lectures because lectures are kind of boring. So thank you, Tario. Okay, Mackie, you got it. That's a yes. Uh, and another yes from Manny. Okay. And another from Tario. Thank you all. I appreciate you all tuning in tonight. Subscribe or tell your friend to subscribe because I've got just really shitty stats right now, and I'm hoping to build them up at least a little bit. I'm not going to have a pay channel, so don't worry about that. But it'd be nice to get a few folks. And if anybody else has anything else, last chance. Last chance. No, I think we've got all the questions in here. So thanks everybody for watching tonight, tuning in. I'll be back next week with some more genuine babbling. And yeah, thanks. We'll see you next week. Take care.